notacon. Okay. Slash package, not as scary as it looks. Slash package is a package management system, kind of new and different, and has met with some resistance. I think people don't quite understand what it is, what it's trying to do, really. And so I'm hoping this presentation will help that for all of you here. So it was created by Dan Bernstein about 4 or so years ago, and I've been a big adherent to it ever since. Yeah, best not to compare it to other package management systems because they're really attacking a different problem, or they're attacking the problem from a different angle, and one is really not a substitute for the other. They could even be used in combination. As a point of terminology, some people use the word package only to refer to, say, a repackaged version from an OS vendor, or only if it's in binary form. I don't really care to make that distinction right now. If it's a bunch of software distributed as a unit, I'll consider that a package. Okay, so, whoops, there we go, okay. The basics of package management, what problems do we try to solve here? We want to make installation of software easy. There are a lot of different ways people do things out there that if you try to install everything from source yourself, you're going to run into a lot of trouble, a lot of hassle. So we want to make that easier. We also want to make uninstallation easier. Once you're sick of this program, don't want to have it on your system anymore, you want to know where it put all its files, and so you want to be able to get rid of them without damaging anything else. You want to track dependencies so that before you start installing package foo, which depends on bar, you want to know about bar and get that taken care of first. Conflict resolution. Authors don't really coordinate their efforts very closely across the net, and so you might have two people using the same file name for two different things. The program xFirstStats could be provided by two different packages, and in fact has been. We also try to make different packages appear more or less similar, so that upgrading, installing, removing a package is pretty much the same process for the admin to do, no matter what the package is, no matter how the package itself, as distributed by the author, normally works. So the two problems out of that set that slash package really tries to target are conflicts, different aspects of the conflict problem. You could have the same program in two different places, or you could have the same place, meaning a path, being used for two different files from different packages. So for example, I'm distributing a Perl script. I want anybody to be able to run it as easily as they like. But I need to know where the Perl interpreter is to make my script work. And it could be in a variety of places. It could be in user bin, could be in user local bin, depending on how it was installed. So that's one problem. Also, now for other types of files like C header files or libraries, we have search paths to try to handle that problem. There are a variety of places we'll look for the file, so that even if it is installed in various different places, we can usually find it. But that's somewhat error prone too, because the search path for your C headers might not be in the same order as the search path for your libraries, etc., etc. So various problems can occur. So the slash package solution here is, for any given file from a package, there has to be one path that will always work. No matter where you are, no matter how it was installed, no matter how else you might be able to find that file on any given system, you should at least be able to find it by the one standard default path. Now the other problem that notacon-2005-pjarc-slashpackage tries to target is naming conflicts, collisions, where two packages have the same name or two files within those packages have the same name because the authors didn't coordinate, and really there's not been much expectation that they should. And so the result is that you have these collisions. And when you try to integrate both of those packages onto a single system, you have to resolve that conflict somehow. But you really, as an author of a dependent package that uses one of those two conflicting packages, you don't know how that conflict was resolved by any given party, and so you don't know what you should be looking for to find the dependency you need. And so the slash package solution for that is we have a registry of all package names and all command names. So as a result, these conflicts don't come up in the first place. Yeah.
There's multiple versions of a single package. Do you define the same path, or is that a sort of separate problem?
Versions I will get to in a minute here. They don't count as conflicts. Yeah, feel free to jump in with questions at any time. Okay, so there's a question that comes up here with this registry is who's going to do the work of coming up with a standard path, as in the first problem here, and then entering that into the global registry to ensure that other packages won't use that path. So the classic net solution, if nobody else does it for you, you do it for yourself. And in this case, you is the admin, because the admin is the one who benefits from this work. So if an admin is doing this, first of all, this is not what your primary goal as an admin is. You're not really trying to make a package management system. You're just trying to run your system. And so what you'll end up with is probably kind of haphazard and sloppy, and it's just enough to get you through the day where some other problem becomes more important. There's also a massive duplication of effort. If every single root is doing this themselves, everybody's work is wasted. It would be much better if we could have the same work done once and everybody could benefit from it. And as I mentioned before, when the conflict resolution is done, it can be done differently by each person, so that makes a portability problem for other software that depends on it. Also, I described it here as package normalization. What I mean by that is on one system you can find all your programs in user bin, let's say, and on another system maybe you find them in opt somewhere. On any given system, everything is made to look pretty similar across different packages, but that's another point where the way things are done on one system is not going to be the same as the way things are done on another system, and so that becomes a problem again for portable software that depends on those things. So after all these admins get sick of doing everything themselves, they will start to band together, and then you get an OS distribution out of that where all this work of conflict resolution and normalization and stuff is concentrated in a distro, and then everybody can make use of that. Now there is still some duplication of effort and some portability problems. There's less because there are fewer distros than there are admins, but those problems do still occur, and they can still be just as frustrating. Also, the distros out there can't keep up with all the upstream sources out there. The authors producing this software there's very many of them. They can come out with new versions on a fairly rapid cycle sometimes. And so if you're an admin and you want one of these packages, or one of these versions at least, that is not yet available through your distro, then you're stuck. Even though the distro is supposedly doing this work for you, you're still stuck doing this work yourself. And now you've got the problem of sometimes I deal with packages the way my distro does it, sometimes I have to do it myself. So that's more work there again. So pushing it even farther away from the admins, we reach the point where how /package does it, the authors do the work of the normalization and conflict resolution. Now we have no duplication of effort. If the ultimate author of a program decides what its name will be and how it's going to look and make it pretty much the same as other packages so people won't be tempted to make any changes, then that only has to be done once. Nobody else has to do it again, and everybody benefits from that work. That does concentrate more effort on the author than has been traditionally done, but with automated tools it's usually not too tough. The portability problems go away since everybody's using the same version. Of course, that's sort of disingenuous. It actually depends on people not making changes, which they have always done before. Why would they stop now? Well, there has been effort put into it to make it less necessary for people to make changes. And so if they don't make changes, incompatible changes I should say, then we won't have to worry about these portability problems. I create a program, I put a lot of work into making it work pretty well on every system I can find. I make it available for everybody to use. Then when they get it, they can pretty much use it as is, and I encourage them to. That way, anything that depends on that program will be able to find it right where they expect it to be. Now, people will still have the temptation to make all these different packages look the same on their own system, but you can usually do that by adding a layer with symlinks or whatever. You want all your config files to be in Etsy, or you want all your programs to be in one directory. You can do that with symlinks. You don't need to make incompatible changes to the program or to the package. If the author does this work, then the distro can use pretty much the same format, same layout, same everything. They don't have to make many changes. That means when the author does reach the point, or I'm sorry, when the admin reaches the point where they want to go get something themselves that's not available through their distro, it won't be so different from what they already know from their distro. And so that's less work for the admin. They can work with that direct package pretty much the same as they work with any package. Yeah, which makes uninstallation easier, and that means that you have less resistance to try new things, which I think is good. If you know that this new package that you want to try looks kind of interesting, there's a decent chance it won't be useful actually. And so, you know, you may end up uninstalling it, getting rid of it. There's less resistance to try it if you know that it will be easy to get rid of it. And now when the authors are doing the work, you can't really use something like RPM or apt or whatever and try to push that out to everybody, because everybody doesn't have RPM or apt. A lot of people will have RPM or apt, but if you pick any one, you're kind of stuck. So the format used for distribution has to be simple, portable, depend on very basic things that everybody has. And once you've done that, the way /package does it is the package database is actually in the file system. Every package is in its own directory, and so that directory in the file system is the record of that package being in there. So that eliminates a layer. When you're using RPM or whatever, you've got a record in the package database and you've got the files in the file system, and as long as you've got that duplication of information, there's the possibility for those pieces of information to be inconsistent. You could have the files and it won't be in the package database,